How's it going, YouTube? We got another day of working on the Jeep in the garage. So today I am going to try to align this better. So you can kind of see it in some spots, but that ram tends to interact with the, actually you can see it on the back side since we've rotated everything. That ram tends to interact with the tie rod a little bit, and we're going to try to stop it from doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this bracket off, and I'm going to rebuild this so that it, sits maybe a little bit higher up out of the way, and we'll try to get it driving a little bit better. First we got to take this off. Everything's honestly probably a little bit tighter than it needs to be because I haven't read a torque spec in a pretty long time. So, and it's frozen. I just pulled this in. Oh my God, is that cold? I just pulled this in from outside. It's, I think, -7 out there right now, but it feels like, I don't know, like -20 something. I thought I had my diesel plugged in today. Turns out it came unplugged in the garage. So it, I started it today, and it was rough. I don't have a lot of experience with diesels, so I never really firsthand encountered a super cold start on one of those. That was rough. So it's plugged in now, and I verified that it is in fact, the block heater is doing what it's supposed to do. Got everything in here so stiff. That's what she said. There's some clearancing to do on some other things it looks like as well, but that bushing doesn't seem too bad. We can work with that. Alright, so we got this one off. I'm going to take this one off next. That one feels like an adjustable wrench size. I think it's a 24, and the wrench set that I have right here, excellent, only goes up to 21. So we'll use the big adjustables. I can't tell you how many times I've cut this off and redone it. This is a redneck ram system, and I've talked with, I believe, Matt over at Redneck Ram a few times, and he knows his stuff, and I'm just having a hard time keeping this thing and getting this thing aligned good enough so that it drives and returns to center nicely. So hopefully this is the last time I move it for a while. But I also just need to move it so I stop gouging the aluminum tie rod that I've got in there as well. It's not doing me any favors. So we'll get it done. There we go. It's a very thin nut that I had to shave down so that it actually did fit. We're going to start taking these brackets off. It's a really good job for a Sawzall. I don't think I have any Sawzall blades to do that. Could plug in the plastic cover. I don't want to. We're going to angle grind it. You may have noticed I did in fact change my mind about using the angle grinder and the plasma cutter. Rest assured that's only because the plasma cutter is easier to find and harder to lose. There you can tell, that location's been changed a few times. I think what I'm gonna do is, it really has to mount up there, in all reality. I'd like to mount it over here, but I don't think it'll mount high enough if I do that. We can try it. I suppose I could put a plate that extends up here, because it should stay out of the way of that. I don't think that really comes in that far. I'm worried about the track bar coming down and interfering with it. If I put a straight plate there, it should clear it. We'll try it. I'm going to start over here though. I'm going to make a bracket that sits on this guy and just weld 2 tabs on it. And we'll do that one first, and then we'll kind of figure out where we need to place it over here height wise. So we'll get that next. Nice thing about that saw is that's cold to the touch. Alright, so we've got a general plan. We're going to cut along that line with a plasma cutter, because once again, grinders are hard to find. I should wear a mask for that. There we go. Alright. God bless am I off with freehanding with a plasma cutter. You guys see that? That's terrible. But we'll grind it out. It'll be fine. Surprisingly enough, that's still very hot. There we go. And we just got to grind that off. And, well, actually, I want to see where that sits. Yeah, we're going to grind that smooth. Doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work. Take the squints. It's almost like we know what we're doing. It's pretty clean. Alright, so the next step is to see how much of this needs to stay and how much of it can go. How much does that leave both sides? Man, if we just come up like this, both of them, that'll leave us some really equal triangles. We might just do that. So I'm going to draw some more lines and we're going to see where that sits. Well, it is officially the next day. My phone died and I didn't quite get finished last night. Have I been like that all day? I've been like that all day. That's fine. But we're going back out to the garage and we're gonna try to finish up what we started yesterday. I have to mess with the parking brake a little bit on the Jeep too, because it will randomly engage while going forward. So we're gonna have to fix that. That's ridiculous. No wonder I was getting funny looks. But we're gonna adjust the parking brake on that and then finish up working on the hydraulic ram. Maybe take it out for a test drive before dinner. And yeah, we'll get it done. So this is as far as we got last night. So everything's mounted in single shear. I had this sitting between those, and things interacted with each other in a way that they probably shouldn't. So we moved them down, and now I've got to adjust this. We had to move a few things. Everything's set up in single shear right now because, well, because I didn't make more brackets yet. But I'm gonna have to cut some new tabs. But right now what we're gonna do is we're turned all the way to the drivers, and we need to loosen this up and adjust where this sits on the tie rod, so that way we can get full turning in both directions. Oh, that's tight. Is it tight or am I just weak? I don't really know. But we'll get these loosened up, get that moved over, and then we'll start. Oh boy, this is why I hate these Allen keys. That's a lot of torque on those for what they are. Alright, we're gonna get this moved over and then we'll get started on the next piece. I cheated a little bit. I used the ram to push it over, but you see how far it moved. So hopefully that puts it where it needs to be. I just loosened this up, started the Jeep, and just turned and let it push the bracket over. Alright, we'll see how that works. Feels about right. So you saw it before I did, but we'll see if it's right. Alright. We are now moving on to part 2 of tonight's entertainment, which is figuring out why this parking brake is the miserable piece of shit that it is. I don't really know a lot about drum brakes. I've rebuilt several sets. None of them have ever worked as designed after I finished rebuilding them. So I struggled with the parking brake on the JK for a while with the stock 44 axle, and I thought, you know, my truck has the same parking brake on it. I'm like, this will be great because it holds the truck just fine. And I thought maybe we'd have some progress here with, you know, the new parking brake or the new axle being better. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I suck, which is entirely possible. But it seems like drum brakes just never really go the way you think they're. Oh, that's right. I always forget I have to take the caliper off of this to get to that. I don't really want to do that. Some of these are tighter than others. That off. Oh boy. That's an 11/16. I remember that. We've done that one enough times. I did print new ones of these, so because I lost them. So we'll see how long these hold. I made them overall about 1 millimeter wider, but I need them to warm up a little bit because I can't. They're not flexible enough right now to get in, because I made them bigger so that hopefully they won't fall out. All right. This guy. God, it's a lot of salt. All these parts were new. All of them. I can't control myself in the winter because this vehicle, it does so good in the deep snow that it seems like a shame not to drive it. And then every time I drive it, I regret having driven it because it makes it miserable to work on. And everything, like this is so much salt. There it is. Like this is advanced salt.
This is advanced darkness.
Salt. This is not even just normal. Alright. I think that this parking brake is actually too loose, because I loosened it up because it was seizing before. I have a feeling that it's actually now too loose, and it just kind of rocks around and will like engage as you start to roll forward, or I have no idea. But we're gonna learn something. Even if we don't understand what we're learning, we'll learn something. Yeah, there's a bunch of rust in there. That's lovely. So when it rolls forward, I think it does that. Every time it rolls forward. Why does it do that? I don't know. I feel like there's supposed to be something holding that in place. Because I think when it slides over like that, because I can hear it go like thud and then it drags. But I don't know why it's allowed to move so much. So we'll try to figure that out next. Alright, so I adjusted it so it's actually tighter because I think it was too loose. Also, if you're not bleeding, you're not working. I think it was too loose and it was allowing it to rock back and forth. So I'm gonna put it together and we're gonna drive it around and see what it does. I have very little confidence. So these were like the cheapest brake. They were loaded brake, like backing plates from Amazon. This is like a Duralast brand, but they're $100 a pop. And that's not a lot of money, but like it's enough that I don't want to buy them again. That and you have to modify these plates to fit the wheel speed sensors in there for the JK, so that you have ABS and traction control and all that good stuff, which you can get rid of, or you can plumb it into the front sensors. But when it's like snowy like this, it's actually kind of nice to have, because with hydro assist, the steering on this is kind of floaty. So where did I put that bolt? Jesus Christ. The steering is kind of floaty, so if you don't have traction control, you don't always notice when you've started to lose traction. So it is nice to have. Jesus Christ. Do we do this next and just hope that the other bolt shows up? Alright. There's another bolt for this bracket back here. And we're just gonna start putting other things together in hopes that it just shows up. Because yeah, that's where we're at. Do that. Properly torque all these down with the, you torque it by ear. You listen for the, good. You listen for the click with the impact. Yeah, there it is. See, told you we bump into it. Nobody sponsors this channel, but if somebody wants to, these are really good. And I drink too many of them. Alright. Oh, this is just the worst height and position to be in for all of this. Just gonna bring it down a little bit. It's fine. It's just the wrong height. Higher would be better and lower would be better. Middle, not good. Okay. There we go. Bead locks are cool, they said. Things we do for the internet. Alright. We should know pretty quick because the parking brake historically would lock up basically immediately after I started driving forward if I had put the parking brake on when I parked. I would say that is that's a tentative success for right now. I will update you when it fails, inevitably. But oh, that sounded like that little thud. I think that thud was the parking brake sliding forward and starting to rub. All right, I heard it thud, which kind of sounds like it sounded before. So we're gonna check. I drove for a little bit to see what it did. We're gonna check this with our highly accurate organic thermometer. Everything feels extremely cold because it is -7 out right now. But if it were rubbing, it would be warm. And that side feels like a crisp 80 maybe. And then I don't know, this side it feels exactly the same. So we're going to drive around a little bit further and, you know, see if it heats up. We back out of our spot, hypothetically, in our closed course, and we drive forward. Yeah. Hear that? That is the sound of a parking brake rubbing. That's pretty obviously a problem. Alright, so I went ahead, took it back apart. Actually, I took apart the other side because, surprisingly enough, the side that I thought was making the noise, I never actually got out until tonight to look at it or listen for it. It was the other side making noise. So, took that apart. I loosened the parking brake on that side a little bit because that one was super loose, or super tight. And we'll see what we got. We'll drive around a little bit more. And yeah, I'm really tired of parking brakes. And this doesn't fix it. It could be something as simple as my parking brake cables not releasing properly. They're new, but everything's new, so you never know. But we'll drive around again and see what happens. Well, we've been driving around for about 10 minutes and nothing's failed as of yet. Oh, my camera's doing something weird. 1X. You guys can see that, but weird. Alright. Well, I'm going to keep driving around a little bit, and I'll fill you in if it fails again, but as of right now, it seems to be working. Fingers crossed, because I would like to drive this, you know, further than down the street without the brakes overheating. So